I get this. Okay, so I got some likes. Okay, so let's talk. I want to have a serious conversation with you guys, and I haven't live streamed in, I don't know, months, maybe even years. Oh, great! I see you guys. Yay! Okay, awesome. Okay, so I haven't live streamed in, I don't know, maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years. Okay. But somebody got on my case. Shout out to Carla Jones, who was like, I need you to get back to how you was in Periscope days, right? You was all on Periscope. And I was like, yeah, I don't be feeling like doing live stream. She was like, you got to do it. So I'm not going to hold a lot of time reminiscing about the old school days of live streaming. I'm going to go ahead and dive in and talk to you guys. So let's have a chat about the AI trends, okay? Because I know a lot of people, and particularly my followers who are probably 35 and up, are like, this is a lot, right? If you feel like this is a lot, type, LOT in the comments, right? If you feel like it's a lot, type LOT in the comments, okay? So most of us feel like this is a lot. It's happening so quickly. It's happening at the speed of light, right? So here we are, like 1 minute, we got the ChatGPT. Then a few months later, it's something else, and then you got Claude 2, and then ChatGPT implemented plugins, and then now they're rolling out their corporate stuff. Same thing with Midjourney, right? I think when I started, they was in Midjourney 4. Now they're in like 5.3. Blah 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 blah. Okay. And so it's a lot of stuff. And the question that we have to ask is, a lot of you guys are leaning back, okay, waiting to see if this is a trend or a fad, right? If this is fake, should I get into it? Should I not get into it? Kind of a lot. I don't know if I want to deal with it. They're going to be gone next week. Like, you know what I'm saying? At one point, Periscope was the whole craze. And not Periscope, excuse me. What was it that was the craze? Oh shoot, the audio one that everybody was getting on. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. And so everybody was on that about 2 years ago, right? And then now you don't hear as much about it. Somebody write in the comments and tell me what it is, because I'm drawing a blank. So the whole point is this a trend or is it here to stay? So let's answer some questions. I'm going to do some deep diving. Okay, so I want to be the first one to just talk about, I am an early adopter. Okay, I am also, because of my age, which is over 40, I'm very mindful of how I spend my time and energy. So I look at something, I kind of watch it a little bit, I might dig into it a little bit, and if I get into it and it doesn't instantly click like this is a game changer, I kind of move on and know not to spend my time, right? And I'll give an example of where that was for me recently. Was like Threads, Instagram Threads. It was like all the craze, 1 million people in one day signed up for it, blah, blah, blah. And I get over there and it's a bunch of bullshit, right? There's no hashtags. There's no real search feature, like no robust search feature so you can find what you're looking for. So if I'm only interested in dog training, how do I find that information? If I want to follow people who talk about dog training, how do I find that information? So the fact that you didn't, Instagram is so heavily built on hashtags, and so is every other platform, okay, following the lead of Twitter. That's such a huge way of how we find information and how we build a community. How could you not launch with hashtags? Okay, so because of that, I just really uninstalled it and moved on. Okay, so those are some ideas of how you know something is more of a trend versus this thing is here to stay. When you can't get people to really commit to going back day after day after day, it almost has to feel like an addiction. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Like I said, I'm an early adapter. Okay, so I will talk about being an early adapter has saved me in my business probably 6 times. Okay, probably 6 times. And here's one way that it did that. I will just talk about starting a business in branding. When I started a business in branding, I've been in business 22 years. So 22 years ago, I had worked at Coca-Cola, Delta, and those companies. outside of those companies, nobody was talking about branding. So when I started as an entrepreneur, people didn't even know what branding was. And when they finally figured it out, they thought it was like logos and websites, right? They didn't really get what all it was. But because I was an early adopter, I was able to be on the front end to train people, to teach people. And that built me a reputation to this day that still has me as the brand mother. But it was because I was early adopter. I didn't just say blogging, right? I was very niche. Then, I didn't just say marketing. I was very niche and said specifically branding. Okay. Then the next craze that came up was blogging, right? So I was blogging before Facebook, before Twitter, before any of that. I was blogging as a marketing strategy, right? So you blog, you put the blogs on your website, and then you promote that to an email list, and that's kind of how I got. So that's kind of how I got visibility and positioned myself as an expert. Well, when Facebook and Twitter came along, and there was a few other platforms that were popular at the time, I was able to promote people to the blogs, and it like blew up. So because I was an early adapter to blogging, it positioned me to be ready. So when social media came about, which I was also an early adopter to that, right? The social media became a way for me to promote, okay? And so that changed the trajectory of my business. So number one, being involved in branding changed how I could position myself. Two, blogging positioned me as an expert, which put me in a place that I could go forward with Facebook, with social media, right? Now, here was the next thing where I was an early adopter, all right? Periscope, which was streaming, okay? So before Periscope, there was something called Meerkat, right? And Meerkat was a far superior platform, but it didn't last because it wasn't simple, it wasn't easy, and it wasn't straightforward. So we got onto Periscope, and Periscope completely changed the way that I do business. It completely changed it. Not only did I get, tens of thousands of followers on Periscope, it also allowed me to put together my very first live conference, which was Paracon, which had about 300 people that came from around the world. Like we had people that came from Canada and Europe and all of that, right? But it was because I was live streaming and they wanted to see me and meet me in person. And so it was massive. It was huge. It was like we took up like seven conference rooms, and stuff like that. So it was massive. And so that was because I did live stream. And now we're talking about AI. But let me give you a little bit of context into those things, okay? So I've given you the context to branding and blogging. Let me give you context into live stream because we talk about, Periscope is no longer here, right? But live stream is. So sometimes the trend is not the platform, right? The trend is the medium. Okay, so live stream was the medium. So because Periscope was so incredibly popular, the first thing that happened was Twitter bought Periscope. Okay, then the next thing you know, Facebook decided to create a live stream component, which I'm talking to a lot of you guys now. On the trend of that, Facebook, Instagram has a live stream component. TikTok has a live stream component. YouTube has a live stream component, and LinkedIn has a live stream component, okay? And so with all of those live stream components, the grandfather of that was Periscope, okay? So the trend may not be the platform. So if we look at some of these platforms now, we look at ChatGPT, we look at Midjourney, we look at Dolly, Claude, all of those kinds of things. They may not be here 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, but what's never going away is AI. Generative AI is not going away, okay? And that brings me to the whole point today. Is it a pass or is it a pivot? It's a pivot, okay? It's a pivot. And if you're not pivoting right now, you're going to be too late because everything that I've listed, okay? Everything that I've listed had a ramp up time where you had months and even years before you were like, I got to get on, I'm behind the 8 ball, okay? You don't have months, you don't have years with this. Sorry, trying to get this hair off of me. You don't have months or years with this. You just don't, okay? This is a right here, right now. And here's why you don't have months and have years, is because it's changing faster than anything that we've seen in our lifetime. Okay? It's changing faster than anything that we've seen in our lifetime. So the answer is move, make the shift, make it today, and make it right now. Okay? You've got to make the shift and the change right now. So here's some of the other things that we got to think about. Okay? You've learned all these tools, you learn all these skills. What do you do with it? How do you leverage it? Okay? So one of the things that I'm going to tell you to do to go ahead and leverage it is learning how to create products. All right. So right now I've got the Banging Book Challenge, and I will drop the link in the comments for those of you who are not live with me right now. I'll drop the link in the comments. Okay. The book cover, the Banging Book Cover Challenge. And the reason why the Banging Book Cover Challenge is super important is because it's the beginning of helping you learn how to leverage some of this AI to monetize it. Okay, it's time to monetize this AI. All right, and a lot of you, so that's going to be books, ebooks. Okay, it's going to be okay, here's the link. It's going to be books, ebooks. It's only a $25 challenge. It's going to be books. It's going to be ebooks. It's going to be, planners, anything that you're going to be able to create to make money in a passive revenue. And why is that important? It's because we've made a big shift. Okay. During the pandemic, we started with a gig economy, right? The gig is, instead of having a job, I'm just going to do this thing. So that's going to be, your Uber deliverers, your Instacart deliverers, people that just showed up at your house to do one little thing, people that came over. Remember, everybody was remodeling their house during the pandemic. And so people would come over just to help you clean a closet. Okay. So it was the gig economy. Okay. We shifted away from that. Right. And because what happened with people still had money during the pandemic, right? They was off work for a few weeks. They still had a little money. Then we got cash infusions. So people had money. The free money is gone. The government money is gone. The loans, all of that is gone. So we're not in a gig economy anymore. People aren't paying as much for gigging. Okay. Someone told me the other day that they were trying to apply for Instacart and all that, and they're not even accepting applications anymore. So we gigged out. Okay. So now what is it that we're looking at? We're looking at the info economy. That's where we are now. The thing that people are paying for. People are paying for information. Okay. People are paying for information. Okay. Most of you out there, again, if you're over 35 or 40, okay, you've got information that people will pay because it's a shortcut. Okay. It's a shortcut. Okay. For them to get information, to learn a skill, to move forward in a faster way. And for you, they're willing to pay you for it. Okay. They're willing to pay you for it. And so from that shift from the gig economy to the info economy, and we're just talking about like 2020 or 2020 until 2023. We're talking about in a matter of 3 years, we've made a economic shift. Okay. So when I talk about the Banging Book Challenge, and again, I'm dropping the link for you guys in the comments. When we talk about this challenge, the first thing I want you to do is start thinking mentally and emotionally. What is it that I know that I can put into an ebook and sell? Okay. So I'm not talking about physical books, even though you can do physical book covers. A lot of times we're looking at info. It's an info economy. So quick info products. Okay. That means that I can do a book. I could do an ebook. I could do a resource list. I could do a planner. I could do a journal. I could do, any number of things that's going to make me money. All right. Now I'm going to be talking more and more and more about how to do some of these things, how to flip your business model the way that I flipped my business model. I'm no longer offering coaching services or agency services, which is the graphic and web design. I'm completely going all in on the info economy, really selling the knowledge that I have because I'm 52. I have a shit ton of knowledge. And I've been successful at a shit ton of things. So I'm going to take that and make me money. I spent money in classes. I done been in trainings. I done been to schools. I done been to all of this. So this knowledge, why wouldn't I monetize what's in here? Why wouldn't I monetize my experiences? Why wouldn't I monetize and leverage my resources? I would. I am. I shall. Okay? And so shall you. So I'm going to be giving you a lot more information going forward. But the first thing I want you to do is to join the Bang and Book Challenge. It's only $25. It's not a free challenge, right? And it's not a free challenge because of the level of training and information and resources that I'm going to be giving. That's number one. And number two, I want you to have some skin in the game. Okay? There's a different level of commitment when you have skin in the game. So I'd like you to join. All right. And so, like I said, you'll see me more here. Somebody got on my case and said you need to be back to that Periscope, girl. So I'm back to live streaming now. So that's it. I'm going to hop off and I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Talk to you later.